all the things on the overlay, but that's okay. We'll just go into the in-game view and nobody will know. It's all disappeared. Boom. And just at the same time that our, I don't even know, our Skype call is dying or something. It's so weird.
Oh,
Yeah, it
I
must
can't
just time it
promise.
out just in case you're just sitting on video.
Yeah, I
And-
actually turned it off this time
Okay.
manually. Last time it did just like nope.
Yeah, that's just funky. I don't know. Welcome to the new Skype, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So we haven't seen any PVZ out of Hypernia today, I don't believe.
I don't think so. I haven't seen PVZ out of him in a long time, actually.
Yeah, actually, we had PVZ in the tournament at all.
From
No,
not in this one. No.
not
Not a lot of
cast it.
Zergs.
I
Yeah, so how cool.
Might-
This is my favorite matchup to play by far.
really.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're not.
What about Swarm Host?
Yeah,
The
Swarm Host
cancer.
is what was gonna
I
say.
don't lose. I'm not usually in the game long enough to have people play. Usually the games where there are swarm hosts are games where they go swarm hosts, and that's when my all-in hits. So those are usually good games. I'm not usually in the game long enough for swarm host death to happen, but when it does, I actually think it's kind of fun to play against because it's the battle of what's going on outside of the swarm host, and can you contain the swarm host? You know, how much are they investing in it? How many Colossus do you need? How good are you with Warp Prism? Stuff like that. So I actually think it's pretty cool. DT's pretty good unit. So I mean, I think it's fun. I think the much scarier things, the things I lose to more often, are like really stupid, like Roach Bust sort of timings. Well, not Roach Bust timings, but just like Stefano Roach Max sort of play. Usually
Kinda cool.
roast me because I'm not ready for it.
All right.
So let's go ahead and introduce our players. Spawning at the bottom left, just got knocked down to the losers bracket by Zan, our GM Blue Zerg WarreN.
Well, that means at the top right is our green Protoss, our Protoss player. He's a Masters player for IGX. I'm not sure what it is. I'm kind of screwing up, but he's in the top right of the map, and his name is Hypernia.
You tried. No.
You didn't get as high as I would have liked you to, but it was good.
Well,
Ye-
I'm trying not to.
So IGX is Imperative Gaming as
Imperative Gaming.
Yeah. And they I think they have a couple of players in the Midwest actually, so pretty neat.
Really?
Sacrilege or Faith, who was signed up. I guess he had an emergency or something, which hopefully nothing terrible emergency, but he had something that, wasn't able to play, but I think he's the leader of Imperative Gaming, which is interesting. So and I think he's from Illinois. Unfortunately not playing today, but such is life.
So, real quick, these two are pretty much being as greedy as possible.
Certainly.
Nexus first, before Forge, from Hypernia. 3 hatchery from WarreN before spawning pool. I really actually like to see this because it always kind of tells me like I'm kind of comfortable with playing you, and I feel like I can't just be cheeky and win. I feel like I need to kind of go for the long haul, Not I'm gonna kind of trick you and see if it works. I always feel like it's a bit more of a I don't want to say like showing an equal kind of thing.
We have a really shifty probe hanging out on this map. Not sure what he's doing, not sure what he's thinking about.
Thinking about minerals.
It might be that the main was just blocked.
I
His
mean-
wall was complete, so he just told him to move command back to base. So that's where he decided to go because pathing is great.
Those kind of look
Yeah.
like minerals, though.
But
Yeah, they kind of. It's all. You're right. It's a weird place to be kind of hanging out.
But it's a weird place to scout too. It's outside of Zelnaga Tower, so we'll see if he meant to do that or not. It's very possible he's just hanging. I would think if he was trying to be aggressive and have a proxy pylon, he would go down to the bottom right. He already scouted that third come down, so there's no other reason to be there. Anyway, a good Overlord scout. Kevin doesn't like to Overlord scout into the main ever.
I mean, there's reasons why I'm not GM. This might be one of them.
quite right, but pretty cool. He gets to see no gas at the natural. Not feeling bold enough to scout over into the gases of the main. He might have seen those already. No, he hasn't.
And WarreN's Overlord down the
Really
south side of the
nice.
map just
Yeah.
barely sees that starport.
Really nice Overlord positioning. That's
Then he skulks over to the edge, which is also clever, right? You don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want your opponent to know that you've just had a great scout.
And you know, Void Rays and Phoenixes are really good at killing little floaty dudes that don't move or fight or do anything.
That's quite right.
Nice call, but you're right. He doesn't know that, or sorry, Hypernia does not know that WarreN kind of knows what's going on. Not yet a reaction so far. He's adding a queen. I think he feels
I think the
comfortable.
reaction is that he's not reacting. He's droning hard. He's getting queens. He's getting overlords. He's spreading creep. These are all good things. He knows there's going to be no, third crushing punch here unless he sees Void Rays starting to come out. But there's not the gateway count for Hypernia to follow up with anything.
That's what I was about to say. The kind of timing that this Stargate went down and placement would have been a nice, drop 4 gates, 5 gates, and just go in 3 minutes. But it's a Stargate, nothing out. Phoenixes are really just kind of annoying. They can become a problem, but early on they're just really just kind of slow you down, screw with you.
Right, and usually 4 or 5 Phoenixes are going to pay for themselves in a PvZ. You're going to be able to pick off maybe a queen or 2. You get good scouting. You get to clear overlords on the map and gain some better map vision. You get to see what your opponent's going to do. And it forces some reaction, right? It forces some spores, or you get to pick off drones, which... WarreN's been droning really hard, so that's really it's not going to ruin his day. But any drone kills is a good drone kill.
And quite a bunch of gateways do go down. He's going to be going up to 7, I believe.
Yep.
Is this a delayed timing or just I'm on 2 base?
Yeah, the thirds on this map really hard to take as a Protoss. 2 base timing's always strong as a Protoss anyway, and it's going to force some sort of reaction. So I think it's going to be a little bit later timing. I would like to see a Twilight myself, but he at least has +1 coming out. So he should be able to do some damage. Really cute proxy pylon at the bottom of the map. He's got a backup. If WarreN's able to pick that off, that really shuts down this aggression.
Yeah, and he's going to actually do that almost immediately. I wonder if he'll see... Oh, that's a bunch of
they
zealots.
warping. And he did just finish +1. So
Still no
Zealot's really
speed.
strong against Lings right now.
Still no speed on the Lings either. A couple roaches will come in, and that's going to help, but that is quite a few lifts on the Phoenixes, possibly.
Right. Unfortunately, they're not going to kill roaches all that quickly, and that's really what he needs to be able to deal with. So he's got some stalkers coming in, and on micro, Zealots win against roaches, but the count's just getting too high.
Yeah.
WarreN had too long to drone up, and now his production is really rocking.
Yeah, he's making 6 to 10 roaches pretty much constantly for the past 30 or 40 seconds. He's already well over 100 supply, and Hypernia might be kind of second-guessing this.
Yeah, I would love to see him
aggression.
go home, try to be effective with his Phoenix, try to get good value out of him, and try to take a third and hold. Really, he's got to rely on some good control and some good holds, and we've seen him have good holds before, but he's got kind of a high Phoenix count to play against roaches. So he does have a Robo on the way, and that's going to be helpful.
What is the best third base choice here? Sorry.
No, that's okay. I think he's... they're both horrible. I think he's taking the better third.
Yeah.
The other one's got 2 wide openings, and right now, the only way he's going to hold is a Mortal Sentry transition. So he's got a good Sentry count already coming out, and he's got them early. So he's got a good number. He's got about 7 force fields right now. And he wants more, but he also needs an Immortal count out so he can actually do something with the controlled roaches. So that's the only way he's going to hold. And that one, on any side, he can force field with 3 at the most. Whereas the other side, the other third is a lot harder to take there.
Yeah.
So good SimCity setup for these roaches. Spell the Doom and the cancellation of this third. He's going to be able to pick some roaches off, but ultimately he can't hold this. But he's going to try. This is really brave play out of Hypernia. He does need the third there, but he does cancel it, so it's a really tough situation here. you know, it's one of those situations where it's like, well, do you suicide in and try to save the base you think you can't save, or do you lose? You know, do you lose the game now or later? And he's decided to try to make a play.
Ooh, some really
Just,
weird micro there.
Some move command on both sides, something we don't commonly see out of players of this caliber.
Yeah, several sentries do go down, and I was just about to note that, like, although he did get a third, there was a few roaches to sacrifice. It wasn't the biggest problem.
Sure.
Then I saw that move command. I was like, oh, that might actually make up for it. But the sentry pickoff was actually kind of nice. Those were pretty high energy sentries.
Right.
And of course, I mean, just any gas administer loss like that is never fun.
Composition's really not so bad for Hypernia right now. The Hydra count's not super deadly, and Phoenix do really well against Hydra in numbers like this. But I mean, they can easily start getting out of hand here if we don't see Hypernia, you know, picking a really good fight. But he doesn't really have enough to take on the whole ball, certainly not on creep. So I like the position both players are in right now, but we have stabilized quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, and you're absolutely right. There's a good bit of Hydras, but not one that just really just kind of shreds through the Protoss forces. I've actually seen a couple Protoss or Zergs get, you know, 40, 50 Hydralisks attack move and then go to the bathroom because there's not much that's going to happen. But you're right, and it's not that big of a force at the moment, but there is kind of a
we're up
run
to 24. We're up to 24 Hydras. You really need AOE to be able to deal with that. We have the Colossus Den. We have a Robotics Bay finish.
Colossus Den. I mean, it kind of is.
So he's gonna have Colossus, but he's got another 2 minutes, and he's got another 5 minutes before he has Colossus with range.
And he now has to be more worried about this kind of second entrance, the wall digger breaking down. Nothing much of attack there because of the force field. But he's going to start getting pulled in the different directions.
He needs to get his sentries up, though, for some defensive force fields. If he can't pick a good fight right now, if he can't split this force, those Hydras trudge over slowly, but they're the DPS right now that WarreN.
Oh, yeah. They're unfortunately a little bit out of position, but it looks like WarreN is going to be able to get the third base pretty handedly. Not terribly certain how much more he can get after this. Roaches are starting to go down, and AoE less Protoss does have a hard time against Hydralisks, but Hydras are very, very weak.
Right, yeah, without Roaches to support them, they die so quickly. And again, Hypernia doesn't have a great composition for killing them, but any composition is pretty okay at killing just Hydras. Does force the cancel again. I think it's expensive though. if Hypernia is able to close off the Hydras. They do have speed off creep now. Has finished, so they're not as immobile as they once were.
He's actually juking very well, but it looks like this Zealot is going to find out where they're going. It's actually kind of an interesting game of cat and mouse.
Yeah, I'm surprised because they're Phoenix in the air. He should be able to track them pretty well, but at the end of the day, the supplies are just out of hand, and this is going to take a miracle for Hypernia to turn this game around.
Yeah, and you know, like we were saying earlier, the Hydra count is just getting higher and higher and higher. 2-2 is about to finish, and 2-2 Hydras versus 1-0 Protoss. It's almost painful, even as the Zerg, to see how quickly they shred through things.
Right. Oh, the back door does have a sentry there. That's pretty clutch. But there are already Vipers out, good for blinding cloud on the bulk of the Protoss units, or for abducts on the one Colossus coming out. Which is about the only way that Hypernia can get back into this game is really good abducts. Oh, he's using his Phoenix to try to pick off the Vipers. That's really good play.
Really nice blinding clouds on the majority of the Protoss army. However, conversely, there's a very nice force field kind of concave, which is keeping most of the Hydralisks from shooting, but it's a very, very high number of Hydralisks. When they start shooting, it's gonna be scary.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he's trading units, and you cannot afford to lose Protoss units in this game.
Yeah.
In this fight, in these compositions. Anytime Hydra Roach is trading evenly with the supply of the Protoss, you're gonna win. And we're looking at a maxed out Zerg against an under 80 supply Protoss.
Yeah, and I mean, the supplies really kind of tell the day that keeping the third base down just led to GG really well.
Yeah, Hypernia realizes his fate. And he GG's. Really cool game. Really well played out of out of WarreN there. We got to see he's just able to control the base count, right? He gets really
Absolutely.
good scouting information. He responds properly to it, and he closes out the game. Really good play. So going on to Overgrowth as our next map.
Wait, what is the third map?
The
That'd be funny
third
if it
map
actually-
is Deadwing,
That's hilarious. It's the exact same maps as the last.
as the last series.
Yeah. Anyway. Also, we have lovely Twitter, or not Twitter. Oh my gosh, Skype.
Twitch.
Skype
Oh, right. Sorry.
pictures.
Completely
No,
forgot about
who
that.
cares? Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, I just kind of was used to having it on. Sorry.
No, it doesn't matter. It's I'll take the comedic value, to be honest, over the production value. I'm all about that.
You never know.
So did we really? It makes me kind of sad that Vane dropped out or something. Did you hear from it all, Sam, or no?
Nope.
That sucks. Did he not know that?
Playa said, I think I can quote. By the way, I think that guy rage quit, so there might not be a
Wow.
loser's bracket for him.
That's
Like
rough.
he logged off instead of leaving the game and GGing. So
Well, it was a 2-1, so he might have been pretty salty about. I don't. You know what? People have choices, I guess, right?
that's right. We all have choices to make in
So,
life.
such is how it goes. But hey, maybe he just, I don't know. Maybe he's like, I have more important things to do tomorrow too. That's okay. Such is life,
There are truffles to eat. There's
There are truffles
Netflix to
to eat.
watch.
dude. If he's eating truffles, those are. Well, wait. Are we talking about real truffles or chocolate? Like
Truffles.
real truffle, like the things that pigs.
Like mushrooms.
Yeah.
What?
You don't
Like
know what
the
a truffle is? Sam?
$300 per bite mushroom truffle.
Sam, you dirty plebeian! You don't even know what a truffle is.
Never paid $300 for mushrooms.
Yeah. Have you never heard of?
How
No,
many
I-
mushrooms?
But I want like chocolate truffles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't
Well,
think I
fine.
have chocolate right now. Otherwise, I would
I don't
like.
actually like chocolate.
I would get my quilt. I'd get my cats. I'd get my chocolate and wine.
Is this
That
just your
actually
wife?
sounds
that's
pretty
being
awesome.
channeled through you
No,
right
that's
now?
my
or-
wife. Yeah, that's Gabby's dream in life.
Dude, that sounds like my dream.
All right.
And my girlfriend's, but whatever.
So we are. Great conversation, boys. It's okay. I'm part of the problem. Anyway, we are loaded into Overgrowth, the latter edition, Infect. And in the bottom right, bottom left, I'm stealing the player intro. Don't even care. It is our Teal Zerg. He is WarreN.
And spawning at the top right, making his way up through the losers bracket, but in the game to stay in it, our green Protoss Hypernia.
So
Sokosu.
I'm gonna let you guys.
That's it.
I'm gonna let you guys get to most of the casting in, but so we've heard that WarreN knocked out Desro in the WCS qualifiers a little bit ago. It was one of his achievements that he put down, and I know, and maybe Sam as well, and perhaps even Jackson knows that Hypernia is a man that studies his opponent and prepares himself for a tournament pretty well. Do you think that maybe Hypernia was watching that WCS event? I don't know if it was broadcast. It probably was broadcasted. Those games, they were probably streamed
Most of them
somewhere.
were kind of hard to find because so many have been going on at the same time.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he looked up the games. He might not have thought he would,
I
meet
didn't.
WarreN necessarily.
Yeah,
I didn't
perhaps
think
not.
that's
But
the live, but they're pretty good about VODs with preliminaries for that. Actually, for that very reason, that you can kind of look somebody up pretty well.
Really
without
good
having to
pylon
see
block
live.
out of Hypernia.
Yep.
This is the sort of saucy, dirty Protoss play that I like to see out of a Protoss player.
especially when they let it finish, I hate it so much. I know it's like less efficient, but I'm just like, man, that's rude.
Well, and especially when you forge fast expand, because there's nothing keeping him right now. The pool's not finished. He is
Yeah,
pulling
certainly.
drones because he has to in response to the cannons.
Yeah,
Because
it's not a.
It's a 37 mineral investment to cancel a cannon.
Yeah, it's not a huge investment. He's not really going for the kill here, but it just slows and slows and slows that hatchery. And I really don't think the way it was looking that WarreN was looking or going for a fast third base, but he's almost kind of forced into it.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for a faster natural expansion, but he wasn't. He had a pretty standard, I think, 14 or 15 spawning pool time. Not looking to go super greedy with the economy of 3 base. But he almost has to.
Right, so WarreN cranks out 4 lings, and he decides to go straight over to the base, try to put some pressure on. Doesn't maybe know that this probe is still out on the map, but he does have 2 more lings coming out to look for him. So that's good on him. There's no reason that Hypernia couldn't have tried to cannon rush the third here.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess it's the second base at the natural third position.
Yeah.
Good hold position out of Hypernia. Once again, very disciplined, dirty Protoss sort of play to give himself small advantages in the early game here. He's a little bit slower on his tech than he normally would be, but he's in a great economic position. His natural is going to finish just before his opponent's. And anytime you can do that as a Protoss, you're feeling pretty good.
And he's also quite a bit ahead in probe count out compared to drones.
Yep.
Little slower on
Zergs
the gas
can't chrono
this
boost.
time. So he's also being quite a bit more cautious.
Is the
this
probe
time.
going to make it home? Will he sneak in? Will he live?
Oh, looks like it.
He will tell that story to his grandchildren, and they will tell it to theirs. Unless he dies. Still tense. I think WarreN is responding properly, though, here. He's not overcommitting. He's not saying, oh, well, I was delayed. I'm going to all-in now.
Yeah.
Most early game Zerg all-ins against a Forge opening are pretty darn bad. If Hypernia scouts it at all, he can
It's
just drop 3 cannons and live.
Let's scout that. We're going to see if he does see this target. I think he will. He might be a little too aggressive with the Zerg, though. Oh, he is too aggressive with it, and I don't think he saw... Oh, he did see the Stargate.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yeah, good scout. I mean, good response by WarreN. He's not overreacting. He knows there's no aggression, so he's just going to try to catch up on economy. We see he's already just about caught up on the worker count, and he has his third.
He's doing that very well. Again, I don't think this is the plan he is going for, but he's rolling it with it very, very well. Not too really far behind at all. Catch up nicely. And looks like a similar reaction from the last scout of the Stargate. It's got looks like 4, maybe 5 queens, and just really comfortable in the fact that he knows that his opponent Hypernia is going economically based as well.
Right. So we do see an Oracle coming out. I like that. It forces really early spores.
Mm-hmm.
It forces different tech path. It allows him to scout. And in the best situation, you can get 3 to 6 drone kills, which is always good. And from there, it'll be interesting to see what he follows up with. He is going for a Void Ray. That I would say that's probably defensive, but he might be trying to transition into, oh yeah, there's the Immortal. Into Void Ray Zealot Immortal into Storm.
I was actually going to ask about that. Seemed like a really kind of fast robo facility.
Yeah, it is.
It's before any other gates. It wasn't really all that long after the Stargate finished. And it's kind of about the only production he has other than that one Stargate.
Oh, so he's actually opted to drop a robotics bay, which is kind of curious. I thought he was going to try to get 3 to 4 Immortals there, get a good Zealot count out, transition into either Archon or Storm. There's some really strong compositions, but he's opting instead to expand early, get Colossus defensively, and try to continue his economic game here, which is certainly, I mean, it's certainly not a bad choice. I thought he was going to try to go for a dirty timing. There's some really strong Void Ray, Immortal, Zealot timings, and then into Storm as well. Allows you to kill just about anything Zerg ever has. WarreN just about to see the third. Yep, gets to confirm.
Did
a
he
third
scout on it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. He's actually a really, really nice Overlord. Kind of scouting, not the best spread, but good scouting the whole time. There's this interesting thing with Zergs where either you have really good creep sped, or you make up for bad creep sped with
with good Overlord.
just having a really good spread of overlords. I actually kind of like a little bit of both, like kind of imagine a line of overlords and then just as far as I can get my creep.
So you like playing well? Is that what you're saying, Jackson?
Yeah, exactly. But
I don't
WarreN
mind that
seems to
myself.
be very, very active with his creep spread. Already gotten clear through the gold base, and yeah, he's pretty. He needs to get the right side a little bit. That causeway of death is always terrifying for both attackers and defenders of any race. But he's got good scouting. He really kind of knows what's up, and I'm curious to see what his next move is. With this infestation pit. It might be every Protost's favorite unit to fight against. We're gonna have to see if Enduring does get researched with the next amount of gas.
I'm thinking it's probably for
Hive.
Viper. Yep.
Yeah, there's Hive. So he's going up to Vipers. That's not a bad call. Some other options there too. I personally still think, and Kevin will always argue with me, that in compositions like this, if you can get a good Roach Hydra count, you can also use Infestors, especially not as much in a situation like this. This is a pretty easy third to defend, but if it's a little bit more open, then you can force an open sort of engagement. But really just better defensively. The Vipers are a lot more versatile, so in the end, they're the better choice, but a little bit later timing. Because this is kind of a scary push here for WarreN. If Hypernia is able to poke down a base here and recall out safely, or if he's able to just take a really good fight, he has four or five force fields here. This could turn things around really well for him.
Yeah, I mean, there's not
Lasers.
a lot of roaches, not a lot of hydras. Really, there's just not a lot of anything. I was, just kind of thinking.
Oh, a great surround by WarreN. Gets right in on the two Colossus.
Gets both the Colossi.
All the energy gone for the War Prism, or for the Mothership Core here. It's just a phenomenal fight for WarreN.
It is going to take a sec to clean up, and actually a bunch of Stalkers do come in from the north, as I say that.
Right, which is good, but he's restoring his supply with gateway units. He lost his very precious Colossus for Roaches and Hydras, so we're going to see more come out. Still a decent fight for him. It was good that he traded it at all. But it's just a matter of whether or not he can keep his force here. He has to be really efficient with them. They're not going home, I can tell you that.
Excuse me. The WarreN does focus down the Immortals, which are kind of the remaining scary forces here for Hypernia. I don't believe he's going to be able to snipe the Hive.
Yeah, which is really, really critical. He's able to get his Vipers out before that Hive goes down. So I think he's up to 2 Vipers, yeah. So really, Hypernia, he really wanted to do more damage there. He wasn't able to do the economic damage, and in this situation, I think he really wanted drone kills. He did get some, because WarreN pulled his drones in that fight. So he does just about even out the drone count, which is really not a bad trade for him, but at the end, he's just not producing high-tier units quickly enough. He needs to be double pumping Colossus, he needs High Templar, but he has no gas.
Well, I was just going to mention that Hive timing was so fast. I mean,
a lot of Zergs like to do that in this sort of composition. When they know they're going up against Colossus, they have a Roach Hydra based army, and they want to be able to take on the Colossus. So it's pretty strong play. Hypernia poking back in though. His War Prism pulled a big amount of WarreN's army out of position, and he's able to pick the Hive for just a Colossus. Will Hypernia get the recall? Yeah, good recall. Very good play out of Hypernia there.
I'm just really interested by WarreN's play this map. He was controlling the map very, very well in the early game, and then has kind of become a little bit too cautious. He hasn't really been able to move out until this point because of the Colossi, but at the same time, he only just now has his Vipers available to really kind of do anything towards the Colossi.
And you can see he just started Enduring Locust. That shows you how far behind,
or
how uncomfortable he is with this game. He can certainly do some damage, but with as low a Viper count as he has, and he doesn't really know the Colossus army here, which in this case is non-existent, right? There are none. But against good force fields, he doesn't want to have a bad trade and then be in a terrible, terrible situation. So he needs some sort of fallback for defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And losing that hive was really, really a problem. It kind of slows down the tech tree. The Colossi does get pulled back, which is really, really nice. It's kind of the remaining of the Viper's energy, and it does look like there's quite a bit of Hydra that's left. 2-1 or upgrade.
Yeah, this is plenty. WarreN's in a great situation right now. Hypernia does not have the production. He's got to be building gateway units just to stay alive right now. Warping in Zealots, which is just about the last thing he wants at this supply.
That is
And
GG, but
Hypernia takes
man,
WarreN takes game number 2.
that
Really
was just very, very edgy until the last few minutes of that game.
Yeah, so I mean, we had some good play out of Hypernia to start the game off, right? He sets the tone, he gets good economy straight away, and kind of makes WarreN chase him. But WarreN from there just gets one good scout, right? He sees the Stargate, he knows once again, I can safely drone up, I can take my queens. And he does. He takes 4 bases before they fight again. Hypernia fails to pick off the hive, does get to trade for a lot of drones, which is helpful, but he never got that scary Colossus count that you really want to be aggressive with. Once you're getting to 3, 4, and more Colossus, you don't care if they pull a couple because you can just sit and fight them.
Yeah.
So really good play out of both players there. Hypernia able to almost get back into the game, pick off the hive, right? Pulling over for just 1 Warp Prism and a Zealot.
Yeah.
Some really pretty cheeky play there. But in the end, just isn't able to get his production and get his high tier unit composition out there. Really good play though.
So yeah, that actually ends up rounding out the play for today, day 1 of the Midwest Cup. Let me first